Hi, my name is Carly, and welcome to my look at my Spain and Portugal summer study abroad experience. In this video, I will be talking about where my study abroad group went, my research question for this trip, and what I have learned overall going abroad. Where did we go for study abroad? We went to, in order, Barcelona, Porto, Lisbon, Seville, Cordoba, Granada, Toledo, and Madrid. Before going on this trip, the group had to come up with an individual research question that we would focus on as we went sightseeing to these special cities in Spain and Portugal. My question was: in what ways did wealth and knowledge from Spain and Portugal display in the urban and cultural transformations within their territories? The wealth and knowledge acquired by Spain and Portugal during their colonial and maritime expansion in the 15th and 16th centuries significantly shaped the urban and cultural landscapes of their territories, both in Europe and overseas. What the cities and the sites that we went to visit established that a lot of urban development was based around administration, trade, and religious influences. Wealth was channeled into building grand cathedrals, mission churches, and religious schools, often aimed at spreading Catholicism. A significant portion of the revenue from New World colonies was directly used to support building projects in Spain. This wealth, derived from silver mines and other colonial enterprises, funded the construction of grand cathedrals and religious complexes. In Portugal, the monarch's wealth was from the spice trade, sugar plantations, and slave trade, and enabled it to finance the monumental religious buildings. Spanish and Portuguese colonial cities were often designed with the church or cathedral at the center, highlighting the centrality of Catholicism or Islamic. Squares and plazas were not just commercial hubs, but also spaces for public religious events like mass processions and acts of faith where heretics were punished and Catholic doctrine was reinforced. The wealth and resources that Spain and Portugal amassed from their colonial enterprises allowed them to construct a vast, influential network of religious institutions, buildings, and cultural practices that profoundly shaped the spiritual and social landscape of their territories. Spain and Portugal's urban design during their early modern periods often revolved around the integration and adaptation of the older pre-existing buildings. Planners initially maintained the prominence of these historical layers by ensuring that modern constructions respect the historical architectural vocabulary and do not overshadow or disrupt the visual coherence of these iconic landmarks. The approach was influenced by history, the heritage of Islamic architecture, and the strategic incorporation of conquered cities in Europe. The use of older buildings as focal points in urban planning helped maintain continuity, assert political and religious dominance, and harmonize new urban spaces with established structures. By keeping modern buildings less prominent, urban planners create a visual hierarchy that emphasizes the historical building's grandeur and significance. This approach ensures that the historical layers of the city are legible and that new developments do not blur the distinct architectural narratives of the past. A lot of the modern architecture in Spain and Portugal often incorporates materials and design elements that harmonize with older structures. For example, the use of stone, terracotta tiles, and neutral color palettes in modern buildings is common in cities, ensuring that newer structures complement the visual context of the older cityscape. The historic cores of Spanish and Portuguese cities, major tourist attractions drawing millions of visitors each year. The Seville, Toledo, and Lisbon locations rely heavily on tourism, which is tied to the preservation of their historical image. Urban planners and local governments prioritize maintaining the visual prominence of historic landmarks to protect the tourism economy. Both Spain and Portugal have national laws that protect cultural heritage and define how urban development can proceed in historical sensitive areas. These laws often include stipulations on the height, volume, facade, design of new buildings to prevent any disruption to the historical cities. To come to the conclusion, my time studying abroad was very insightful, looking into the rich interplay of history, cultural, and design. It's taught me the value of integrating contemporary and traditional elements, emphasizing how architecture and design can narrate cultural stories while preserving the visual dominance of heritage structures. This experience has deepened my understanding of how urban planning prioritizes visual harmony, ensuring that modern interventions enhance rather than overshadow the existing historical framework. Thank you.